couple of weeks ago, I started the craziest experiment of my life. And by saying that, I really mean it, because I want to find out how close I can get to an ATP Challenger level player in a year. But then I realized you can't manage what you don't measure. And the only way to measure if I'm actually getting close to an ATP level player is to get in court and play against an ATP level player. In 365 days, that's exactly what I'm gonna be doing. To make sure I don't fail, I've built a system called the 90 days boss fight, which means every 3 months I'm gonna be playing against a player which is significantly better than me to see how I do and what I need to focus on more. And that's why today in this video I'm gonna show you how I'm preparing for my first match that I'm gonna have in a week. First, let me explain you how the rank system works here, because it's also a good tool to measure my improvement. Okay, so in Switzerland, tennis is measured from R9 to the N levels. For the international audience, what does this mean? N1 to N4 is your equivalent to 6.0 to 7.0 pro ATP players. Then we have the R1 to R4, which is a different category. They are equivalent to your 5.0 players, pro tournament players that are really active and, perform good in big tournaments. Then we have the R5s to R7, which is your 4.0, good club players, like strong club players. And then we have the R8s to R9s, where I'm gonna start from the complete beginners, and they are like equivalent to 2.5 to 3.0 according AI. And yeah, I'm starting completely from the bottom, completely from scratch, and let's see how far I can get in a year. If the engine is broken, the vehicle doesn't matter. The good news, the engine is getting an overhaul, and what I mean by that is that I've already lost 1.5 kilos since we've started. But yeah, even though there's progress, I'm still not fit enough to survive a 2 hours match of aggressive tennis, and that brings us to an immediate crisis. My first official match on the May 17th is going to be in the Swiss Interclub 3rd League, which is the lowest league, and the reality here is the player that makes the least mistakes is probably going to win the match, which kind of is an issue for me because I like to hit high risk shots, but now I'll have to change my strategy and play as safe as possible and try to hit every single ball back.
Therefore, I asked my tennis AI coach to create me a training session plan, a plan that was made to build me confidence while hitting the balls back to my opponent. But obviously, you have to give the AI more information so it can create the best plan that it can. For that, you have to give him more context. So I told him that I'm a beginner and I struggle with my backhand and serve, and even though I feel confident on my forehand, I still have a lot to improve. Besides that, I also wanted to have a footwork drill because I need more explosiveness and I need to build that stamina and endurance. Last but not least, I had to tell the AI what my goal is from this whole training session. And my goal was basically not to hit winners in my next match, but to just hit one more ball back than my opponent. But before even I could start with the drills, there was one thing that I had to fix, which was my precision. Because I used to aim for the corners, but the ball would always land dead center. Then a happy accident happened.
Tension is the enemy of tennis. Last week I was playing so much tennis that my wrist completely died at some point, and then I was forced to let the racket flow with a relaxed wrist, and suddenly I had full control of my shots and it just felt so much more natural. Since then, my forehand has changed, and I call this the exhaustion release.
Now that I have more control on my forehand, it's time for the drills. Drill number 1, the spider footwork. In this drill, it's all about explosiveness and movement. As you can see, you need 6 cones and then you run back and forth as I'm doing here. After this footwork, I was literally dead, which showed me how much work I still have to put into my endurance. Drill number 2 is hitting forehand deep down the baseline. This exercise is about pushing my opponent behind his baseline to make him uncomfortable, which might lead him to make a mistake, or I could combine it with a drop shot. Besides that, I'm also focusing on generating as much topspin as I can so I can hit the ball safely over the net and deep down the court. Drill number 3, backhand cross court to take low risk because the net is the lowest in the middle. To help me aim and focus better on my target, I set up those cones on the other side of the court. And to be honest, I was missing quite a lot of my shots, which shows me that I lack precision and control. And yeah, that I have to put in more work into my backhand, but the good thing is I feel more comfortable and confident day by day. And at the end I thought, why not hit some serve, because this is the most important shot in tennis, which I suck at a lot. Surprisingly, on this day I was hitting some decent serves, so I hope in my match I don't do more than one double fault, because yeah, that's an issue and I lose a lot of momentum when I do that, and it just distracts me a lot from my game. Now it's time to give my honest opinion on this AI created practice session. Overall, I'm really happy with the drills that I got, because I had a clear structure in this practice session and clear objectives to focus on, which I didn't had before. One thing that's missing a lot is instant feedback, and that's the only thing that you get when you have a coach on your side that gives you instant feedback on what you're doing wrong and how to fix it and what you should focus on more or less. So am I going to use AI for my practice sessions? 100% yes. Am I going to book a private coaching session with a coach? For sure yes, because that will help me improve much faster.
The next time we see each other on this channel, you will actually see how I did on my first ever tennis match. So if you don't want to miss if I won or lost my first game, then hit the subscribe button. If you have any tips, leave them in the comments below. Hit the like button and see you on court. Peace out.